Hello everybody again, and welcome back to the Placement Partner Recruitment Academy. If you aren't new to the Academy, then you know exactly who I am, and today is the last time I, Shirley, will address you on the sales matters before also extending an invitation for you Academy learners to join us on the online workshop where we will be able to recap on some of the learnings from the last couple of weeks. So just look out for those communications from us so that you can sign up. It really helps us to know that you'll be attending so that we can prepare for the best experience. Also, after this brief video, please take the time to watch the introductory video of our next expert, Shirley. That video will be on our social media pages on Facebook and LinkedIn. Shirley is from Competently Talent Solutions, and he will spend the following 4 weeks showing you how you can, as a recruiter, maximize the opportunities in the digital age of recruitment. So thank you very much, Shirley. That is going to be exciting. So what will we cover today? Over the last 6 weeks, we have covered an extensive amount of content, which concentrates on how to become the challenger salesperson whose assertive selling style is the reason they make up for 54% of top performers. The question here was, how do we have these challenger conversations? So we unpacked the entire buyer's journey in line with the sales process in absolute detail, from how you get your prospect's attention, whether that is a potential client or a top talent, to actually closing the deal. What we haven't covered is the last step that is often forgotten but so crucial to prepare for in the buyer's journey, and that is buyer's remorse. Right, so just a little bit of preparation before we get started. This is a really good time to print out your buyer's journey tool and have handy, and of course your buyer's remorse tool handy as well. So what is buyer's remorse? We all know that anxious feeling we sometimes feel when we have made a purchasing decision. You will recognize buyer's remorse in yourself when you hear your inner voice asking questions like, was that the right decision? What if it's not worth the investment? It's our typical humanness playing up, filling us with self-doubt. Most people typically do not feel comfortable making decisions, as well as battle with going through change. And that is where buyer's remorse may stem from. I know that I even experience buyer's remorse quite frequently. I even experience it on my way home from a weekly grocery shop. I certainly have also experienced that feeling after accepting particular job offers I was actually quite nervous about. I do find the bigger the purchase, the more anxious I might feel. And sometimes the decisions I've made, like a job offer, have been the ones I've considered the most. But I'm very aware that they have a big impact on my life. So it's natural to feel that self-doubt. Can you imagine a time where you experienced buyer's remorse? If we have experienced buyer's remorse ourselves, then we must not expect that our client or candidate is not going to go through the same thing. The first 3 days and then 3 months are the most critical in ensuring nobody reacts by pulling out from unnecessary fear. The biggest mistake a recruiter can make, especially post-COVID-19 when everyone is lacking any kind of certainty, is to leave the last part of their excellently executed buyer's journey out. Like most emotions that are rooted in fear, it probably begins with our survival instinct. According to David Rock, the author of the book Quiet Leadership, there are 5 social threats that are responsible for activating our survival instinct. That feeling of anxiousness post-purchase is a cue that your survival instinct is being activated and your logical thinking is probably not operating at full capacity. The 5 social threats are outlined in David Rock's SCARF model. Status, This is the perception that your opinions are valued, or that your relationship with another is deemed important, or even that your hierarchy is actually noted. Certainty. This is safety in the knowledge of what is to come, or what is to be expected from another or from yourself. Autonomy, so that perception of choice. And then relatedness, a feeling of belonging or acceptance. And finally, fairness, the satisfaction of achieving that win-win scenario. At any point, if any of these triggers are activated in the first few moments or days after a purchasing decision, we could run into the risk of experiencing that buyer's remorse, much like any of our clients or candidates can. And with it being that everyone is ultra sensitive at the moment, as we exist amidst a pandemic, our survival mechanism is constantly charged, and we will react to triggers that may not have been so sensitive before. When referring to what could trigger a client's response in relation to the SCARF model, what could it be? Status? Perhaps your client felt as if now that you completed the deal with them, your communication dropped ever so slightly. You didn't follow up with them fast enough. They may feel you don't see them as important now that you closed the deal. As a slip of the tongue, you may have even mentioned you cannot make a particular follow-up meeting as you needed to go and see another client, immediately making them feel less important to your other client. Certainty. Perhaps they feel like they should know what is going to happen next, but they don't. They also don't actually want to ask, as you've just completed a very long process with them and they are embarrassed to ask now. Autonomy. An example here, perhaps we rushed through the process too fast for them. We pushed them into taking an option they do not want to take. We all know that anxious feeling we experience when we sometimes feel we have made a purchasing decision a little too hastily. So how about some examples relating to a candidate experience? Relatedness. Perhaps they have not had an opportunity to have a face-to-face interview with the client. They do not know who is going to be their boss personally because everything has been online. They do not have even an idea of what the offices would look like or what traffic might be like when everyone is back to work and things are back to normal. Fairness. Perhaps a candidate accepted a package that they may feel like they are sacrificing too much for. What other circumstances may come up post a client meeting or post a candidate accepting a great offer that could cause them to feel fear and hence ask questions? Fill these in now on your Buyer's Remorse tool. There are many different ways to avoid buyer's remorse, but some top tips could be: number one, secure that trusted relationship. This relates to the need for us to feel certainty in our relationships. And that could start with just ensuring you have mastered the art of selling according to the buyer's journey. At every point, speaking to their needs and not rushing them to make any kind of decision they aren't ready to make. Number two, send them contact information. Clients, and specifically candidates, often feel like they are left in the dark as soon as the deal closes. One way to avoid this and prevent them from feeling regret is to provide them with details about how to contact you and other relevant people within your company. Give them permissions to contact you directly if they have any questions. You want to ensure that if there is doubt, they come to you and not avoid you altogether. So create that open door policy. Number three, the right size deal. While all sales reps want to close the biggest deal possible, the deal still needs to make sense for the client, or they're going to have remorse. Therefore, it's important to make sure the deal is appropriate for your client. You can always upsell them at a later date. A smaller guarantee deal is always better than a larger one that is likely to get cancelled because of buyer's remorse. The same can go for a candidate. An idea could be to, for example, offer a 3-month contract instead of a full-time position if they feel that the change is too much for them. A lack of autonomy can make anybody feel trapped. The natural instinct will be to run when we get the chance. Number 4, explain the next steps. As mentioned before, it's common for recruiters to take a step back once their cycle is complete, so they can move on to the next one. Make sure to clearly lay out the next steps once the deal is closed. Communicate what they can expect from you, the company, or anyone else involved. Certainty here is key. And number 5, send a thank you note. One of the first things you should send your clients once a deal is closed is a thank you note. It shows you value their business, and it can go a long way to put their mind at ease once the sale closes. As recruiters, we all know how important it is to check in on our candidates too. Send them SMSs directly from your placement partner system with words of encouragement, and remember to set those reminders to follow up with the candidate and the client a few times in at least the first 3 months of their employment. This simple act really speaks to the need for that relationship, the status, and of course, certainty. So remember, take the time post-closing the deal, no matter how excited you are, to wow your candidate or client. And then, of course, since you have added all this amazing value, you definitely deserve a recommendation or review. So do ask for it. After all, you are partners in crime now. So if you scratch their back, there is no reason they wouldn't want to scratch yours. At the same time, affording others the opportunity of experiencing the same brilliant service you have just given your client or candidate. So when you've completed your brainstorm of why clients or candidates may backtrack after making a buyer's decision, work on another list of actions you could take post-sale to ensure you close the deal, whilst at the same time wowing your clients and candidates. So what is next? Number 1, complete your activity on your own with a colleague or team. Number 2, look out for registration details of the follow-up online workshop. And number 3, look out for details of our next speaker, Sheldon Buerter of Competent Lead Solutions, who will also be sharing some top tips over the next few weeks on how to survive in the digital age of recruitment. Cheers, everyone.